Hi, and welcome to Psych 111. I'm going to make a couple of videos for you guys to just orient you to the class and also give you a chance to see my face and hear my voice. You'll actually be watching lecture videos in each chapter, but I thought this is a nice way of introducing you to the course. So you're going to have a video. This one is going to be looking at the syllabus together, and then there's another video that is showing you the orientation to Blackboard. That video actually I'm borrowing from a previous semester because the Blackboard is the same. But this one is in real time. And then I'll also make a video that will be available to show you how to help you think about doing your first paper assignment. But for right now, when you land on Blackboard, as you'll see in the other one, we land on the announcements page, but you find your syllabus over here on the left-hand toolbar. So we'll click on that together. And it will open. I'm going to open it in a new window. That makes it easier to see. All right. Right. So there we go. And so we have our syllabus here. And close that. There we go. A lot of this is going to look, everyone at the college has to use the same template, so they'll look very similar. This will look very similar to other syllabi you get in other courses. And all of our basic information about our courses here. There shouldn't be anything surprising or that you and I really need to talk about there. Under the instructor information, my email, my phone number, my office location are all here. Even though you guys are an online class, you should feel free to be in my office to talk to me if you want. My office hours are listed as you see them here. Mondays 9 to 9:30 in the morning, Tuesdays 11 to 12:15, and Thursdays 11 to 12:15. Those are the times I promise to be in my office. I am in my office at other times. I'm full-time faculty. I'm on campus outside of just my office hours, but those are the guaranteed times. If you need to see me for any reason, you can just pop in my office during those times if you want. Always it's better to tell me if you're coming by, just so that when you get there, I'm not with other students. But you can just pop in during those times. If you'd rather meet, if you want to make an appointment to meet in person, you can do that. If you'd rather meet online, you absolutely need to make an appointment. I'm just looking on here and not seeing my WebEx, but I could always send that to you. I can add it to a copy of this also. But that'll be on WebEx if we're doing virtual meetings, and that's always an option, either in my office hours or if we need to make an appointment at another time. I can make appointments for some evenings to meet if you're somebody who works during the day and can never make the daytimes that I've got listed here. You're always better off emailing me to reach me rather than calling. You can call. It just means that if I have to reply to you, it'll be through a phone call and we'll play phone tag perhaps. Whereas I do check my email frequently and will respond to emails pretty quickly. If ever you email me and don't get a response in 24 hours, especially Monday to Friday, that likely means something's gone wrong, that either your email didn't make it to me or I've somehow missed it. Always feel free after 24 hours to email me again politely and say, I emailed you, haven't heard back from you. I will always appreciate the reminder or the notification that something's gone wrong. Okay. All right. The course description you guys can take a look at. You should already know, because I sent out a couple of emails about this prior to the start of the semester, that we are using the OpenStax textbook, and that's provided on Blackboard in a PDF. If you want a hard copy of it, I have a link here. You can buy it for about $35, and it'll get delivered to you. All right. Going through things that deserve explanation. Let's talk about how you'll earn your grade, which I know is the thing you're most interested in all likelihood. I operate on a 1,000-point system. We'll operate on a 1,000-point system. 1,000-point system means that your grade is made up of lots of little parts that we'll talk about in a moment. And there's a couple of things I like about the 1,000-point system. First, I think it's very transparent. It's just addition. There's no weighted grades. It's just addition. If you earn 50 points, and you've got 50 points in the bucket that hopefully will fill up close to 1,000. So I like the transparency of that. I also like that you keep every point you earn. So in a traditional grading system, if you got let's say you got a 50 out of 100 on an exam, right, that would count as an F. In a traditional grading system, that goes in as a 0, and you get no credit for the exam. It's as if you didn't show up for the exam, which always feels unfair to me. If you knew 50% worth of the material, it may not be great in terms of a letter grade, but you should earn all 50 points of the stuff that you knew. And in a 1,000-point grading system, you do. But if you get 50 out of 100, you earn 50 points towards that 1,000 points. And so I feel like it reflects better how you've performed and what you've shown me you know. And so for those two reasons, I like the 1,000-point system very much. To get to 1,000, you'll have a bunch of little parts. There'll be 4 exams over the course of the semester. We cover 8 chapters. Every 2 chapters, you'll have an exam. You do not have a cumulative midterm. You do not have a cumulative final. You just have 4 equally spaced exams. Our last exam at the end of the semester that you'll take during finals week will simply be about the last 2 chapters that we cover. The exams are 30 multiple choice questions and then 10 open-ended, kind of very short essay or more long short answers, about a paragraph each. So 30 multiple choice questions and then 10 of these paragraph long answers. And at each exam is 100 points, so 100 out of that 1,000. So 10% of your grade, right? Which means that exam sounds like a big scary word, but it's 10% of your grade, which means that you could have an exam where you didn't do well. I wouldn't suggest planning for that, but you could have an exam where things don't go well without really messing up your grade for you. So there'll be 4 of those over the course of the semester for a total of 400 points. In addition, you'll write 2 short papers for me. The first of which there's a separate video on, but the first of which is really more of a critical thinking assignment. It's more of you're assessing, evaluating sources for me rather than writing about a topic, and that's worth 130 points. And then the second paper requires you to read, summarize, and respond to peer-reviewed research. But neither one of these papers is very long. The first one, really, you'll be answering a series of questions that I pose to you, and you can even answer those in bulleted form. The second paper is about a 2-page paper. So these are not long papers, but they do ask you to learn to think about research in psychology and to learn how to write effectively about that research, and how to think about research topics. So those 2 papers together are 280 points. And then you have a couple of a few smaller things. Every chapter has a reading quiz that you have to do by the Thursday after we start the chapter. You'll see when you look at Blackboard, chapters open on a Monday and go typically, with a couple of exceptions, but typically they go for 2 weeks. So they open on a Monday and then close 2 weeks later on a Sunday. And then in that 2-week period, you've got work due on Thursdays and Sundays. So the first Thursday, you have a quiz that's due. The first few chapters, I will be very good about sending out reminders. It's also, you'll get reminders from Blackboard. You should be able to see all of it on calendars in Blackboard, but I will send out active reminders. But these online quizzes, they're reading quizzes, they're 10 questions, and are multiple choice. They really are just checking to make sure you've done the reading and to encourage you to do the reading. The quizzes are worth 10 points each for 80 possible points for total. So those are 10 points each, very small part of your grade, unless you don't do any of them, and then it makes a big impact on your grade. You can take those quizzes, each one of those quizzes you can take as many times as you like, and Blackboard will simply count your highest grade. So they're not meant to be evaluative as much as formative. They're meant to shape what you know so that you go into the rest of the work with a solid foundation. And then you also have for each chapter 2 required discussions. One of those is what I call a discussion prompt. I have a specific prompt that I ask you to respond to in some way. You need to post your own thoughts in response to my prompt, and then you need to reply to 2 classmates and to what they have posted and replied to the prompt. Again, Sundays and Thursdays, that's due the first Sunday that each chapter is open, and then replies are due the following Sunday. You also have a muddiest points discussion, and that is, you just have to post a question about the material in that chapter. So either something that you didn't understand that you want help understanding, something that you think you understand but want clarity on, or something you're simply interested, something from the chapter that you really want to learn more about. And so you'll post a question, again, the first Sunday after the chapter opens, and then by the next Thursday, you'll reply to at least 1 classmate. I know this sounds like a lot, and a lot of days. It's always going to be Thursdays and Sundays. It is spelled out really clearly on Blackboard for each chapter, and then I will send out reminders as well. You'll get into a rhythm pretty quickly. So that adds up to 1,000, and there'll also be some extra credit points, extra credit opportunities starting in the first chapter. Usually those are 10 points each, and those will just get added to your bucket, so to speak. So you potentially, if you earned every point available plus extra credit, you could earn over 1,000 points for the class. But most students don't earn every single point, but I routinely, there will always be a couple of students who earn more than 1,000 points if they're doing well in the class and doing extra credit. Okay, so that's how you'll earn your grade. And then the syllabus has a calendar. You'll see that, so we start on a Tuesday, whatever the reason this semester, and this coming week, right, starting on the 29th, is just what I call an orientation module. It's a chance for you to settle in. It's a chance for you to start looking at our course, getting used to what it looks like, ask me questions, get to know each other. So there will be a kind of an introduction discussion where you get to tell us something about yourself and respond to other people. So this will be a relatively slow week. Also could be a week when you start reading and get ahead a little bit. And then starting next Monday and going for the following 2 weeks until the 17th is our first chapter, which is about research and psychology. And so, you'll have in each chapter, as you'll see in the Blackboard video, you'll read the textbook, you'll watch lecture videos that I've provided. Sometimes I provide other information I want you to look at, and then you'll engage in the discussions after doing the quiz. Okay, so you can see all the dates are on here, when papers are due, when exams happen, and it's all, I think, pretty well spelled out. If you have questions, as I said in the Blackboard video, there is just that practical questions link in every chapter folder, and that is a great place to, essentially raise your hand and ask a question. If you have a more private question, always feel free to email me the more private question. Okay? All right. Thanks.